What's going on, you guys? This be your boy Scotty by Nature TV,
Jamar 4.
and we are here for a brand new episode of the Prelude. Okay, with our second interview with the Chasing Dallas. This is our second Chasing Dallas interview, you guys, and we're very excited about this, especially after this week's episode. Okay, so with that being said, Jamar, go ahead and let the people know who we're interviewing and give her grand introduction that she deserves.
Okay, so tonight we're gonna literally Kiki with Kiki. All right, Miss Kiki Kardashian. She is one of the new cast members on this season of Chasing Dallas, giving us a dash of the ballroom scene. And so she's gonna come to us, talk a little bit about her journey and all things dealing with the show and ballroom. So here we come in with Miss Kiki.
Hey you guys, what's going on?
What's going on? What's going on?
How you guys feeling?
We're good.
I'm gonna be even better as
Good. Very excited. Very excited.
Thank you guys for having me. I'm so excited.
Oh, no problem. No problem.
Thank you for coming, blessing us with your presence, because we are going to get into the things because we are enjoying this program that you are on, baby.
Yes, we are, child. Like, this is the best season of Chasing Dallas I have ever seen in my entire life. Okay, and I gotta be honest about that because I've been watching Chasing Dallas ever since episode 1, season 1, episode 1, and I've been supportive of the show from the very beginning. Reviewed the show from the very beginning, and all this. Well, I had to stop for a little bit last season, but I reviewed the show every season. But this season right here, it takes the cake for me.
Okay.
So now that we've, kind of given you your intro and, started the show and gave us a little bit about, but we want to hear more about you from your mouth. So tell us a little bit about who you are, what it is that you do, and a fun fact about yourself that people may not know about you.
Okay, so my name is Kiki Kardashian. I am a 25-year-old femme queen who lives in Texas, Dallas, Texas to be exact. On a normal day, I wake up at like 7:15 to get to the kids and teach them 6th graders social studies. And then at nights, typically on Wednesdays or on the weekends, I am the not the overall mother, but the Gulf Coast mother of Giuseppe Sinati, voguing and making the girls know it in the ballroom scene. And I guess I can say one interesting fact about me that people do not know is I'm like a gamer, but not like a PlayStation type of person, Xbox. Like, take me to the arcade, give me a little card or tokens and watch me have a ball.
Okay, so Dave and Buster's is your gig.
Bingo. If you want to take me on a date, Dave and Buster's.
I love that. That is a very fun fact. I need to go. I have not had a Dave and Buster's date in my adult life.
I have. I did when I went to. Remember when I came to Atlanta last summer and I had came from New York? That was my very first time going to Dave and Buster's ever in life. When we was in New York in Times Square, that was my very first time because there aren't any Dave and Buster's where I'm from at all. So that was my first time. Mississippi, the sticks. Okay, nothing here. Okay, not. That's why I'm never here. Okay.
Period.
Well, I'm not even Mississippi right now. I'm somewhere else right now. So that goes to show you. I'm up north right now. So
okay, we go all around the world.
Exactly.
That's it. So you were introduced to us on the show as a woman of trans experience. So tell us, how did you navigate that queerness as a child during your upbringing?
Oh, queerness as a child, I guess you can say in my upbringing. I think I was fortunate, but I was fortunate because I really didn't have to come out to my family. But it was an unfortunate situation because of the fact that once I started to show queerness very boastfully, I was kind of like, I don't want to, change the mood, but in reality, I was like an orphan because my mom and father passed away, my grandpa passed away. It was just me and my brother. And then my brother identified as gay already at that point. So it was me just being able to be my authentic self and not have to worry about any cons. I do remember growing up, and this is a vivid moment to me, at the age of 10 years old, my mom tells me to go to my room. I end up peeping out of the door and cracking it. And I literally remember seeing my brother getting chastised for doing homophobic, like not homophobic, but like homosexual things. And I think that was just like a wake up call, like, be fortunate, be happy, Kiki, that you didn't have to experience that. But remember, don't take your mom's life in vain because she died at an early age. So you need to be able to live yours because you could be next. So that's where been my point, to be authentically myself, because it can be any of our time. And I want to make sure that I'm being true to myself at all ways.
That's true. That's a great lesson to for the listeners to have, because I just can't imagine not being able to express myself in such a way that feels authentic to me and have to be what other people want me to be. Like, I'm glad that we're, in a time where there's a lot more room for different types of queerness. So
yeah,
I love to see it. I love to see that.
And another thing before you go to the next question, what you basically said that really resonated with me, and I think it resonates with Jamar too, is that we recently lost a friend of ours just this past January. So, and that death came out of nowhere for us. So when you lose people, even at an early age, or even at this age of 34, which is how old I am, when you lose people at don't matter what age it is,
right.
But when you lose people that are close to you, it do put things into perspective a lot of the times, because you just never really know when it's going to come. And with that being said, this was a person that Jamar and I talked to on a daily basis, and all of a sudden, so that's a good way of looking at it. Thank
you so much.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk a little bit about the ballroom scene, because I'm still learning, but I've been able to learn a lot more since around 2015 is when I started getting more introduced into the culture. I started going to a lot of my first balls in Houston, actually, when I was staying there.
Right.
And I was a big fan of the show Legendary. So tell us a little bit about your background in ballroom, and as a fun fact, like, what categories do you think me and Scotty could walk?
Oh my God. Okay. So I'm gonna do that part first then. Okay. So I can definitely say that categories that ballroom has, it started off as just being like a pageant scene at first. Mm-hmm. And eventually, they started realizing that there's multiple people in the queer community that they needed a space. So they started to make the categories, kind of similar to the Olympics. At first, the Olympics was just a race. And then eventually they said, no, let's add more things to it. And I think to answer that question about what categories that would probably be best for you all, I would probably say it seems like Scotty can be that individual who can, if he had to butch up and go inside a gas station in the hood, he might just be able to do so. Just be able to, get through, get out, and then get to the car and be like, oh, girl, oh, that was just so much, But I feel like he can definitely walk realness, baby.
Is that true, Jamar?
It was true up until she said, woo, girl. He's never been that. He may give you a child, but not a girl.
Oh, okay, child. Okay, child. Yes, be like, oh, finally, I could be back,
Right. But two of us probably, because child, let's be coming.
Because sometimes it's easier just to, conform really fast, pay your gas money, go pump your gas and come back, and that's an art of realness, being able to get through by day. And then for you on your hand, I definitely think, Jamar, that you have a style that is undeniable. And I really feel like you can use those fashion ways to probably, if it's not even best dress, it can be like streetwear or club wear, things in that nature where you can still show yourself, because ballroom is still a place, y'all, where they still think you either a boy or a girl. And I feel like, me being a person who was non-conforming at a time frame, I know that there's cracks opened, but it's just a matter of getting to the right places to do so. So,
okay.
I'm tickled. I'm really tickled because she had me down packed. I walk in the gas station. I had my hat to the back, all types of stuff.
I feel like a lot of us as, queer kids that are Black, especially, those of us that are boys learn that in gas stations, barber shops, basketball courts, just anywhere that's around a lot of hyper masculine energy. If we don't feel safe, we conform and we do what we feel like we have to do to make it through the moment.
Right.
And it is just terror the entire time.
That's a perfect point, because me now being on the hyper feminine side, I literally have to take those moments and remember those barbershop moments, those restroom moments back in the day, and now take it as with me being the woman. Sometimes I might catch myself talking 6 octaves above and trying to figure out, like, girl, you already sound fish. Why are you trying to sound fisher? Or I'll be able to be like, oh, well, let me wear black hair today because if I wear orange, I might get clogged. It's just so many things that definitely get you to a point where you just be like, just girl, be yourself, just relax. But society is a motherfucker, so we just go with it. So
shout out to Chase. Chase is in the chat.
Shout out to Chasing in the chat. Absolutely.
Hey, Chasing.
Shout out. Okay, so tell us what it's like being a Black trans woman in the educational system, like with you being a teacher, because that was the most interesting part when we first seen you come across the screen and you were saying that you're a teacher. And I'm like, okay, so she's trans, she's a teacher in fucking Texas.
Okay.
So let's talk about that. I ain't even got no words for that. Let's talk about that.
I would say teaching while trans, hashtag, if we can call it, it has really opened my eyes to the impact that you have to students, but it also shows me the double-edged sword that I'm carrying at the same time. And the reason why I say that is because on a normal daily basis, I'm not going into the classroom like I wish I could, hanging pride flags up, hanging, this is my body, type of stuff. Typically, I'm having to go in there like I'm walking the realness category, and I have to, just blend in. And so, I have had a chance to be at a school where every time a new year comes, I get a new set of kids. So I started my transition 2020. So those kids kind of was able to see, they even saw like my old name on papers and stuff like that. But now the kids I have now in 2023, only how they would know is if their brother or sister was an old student of mine's. But now they're like, it's Miss Lyons, boom, boom, boom. They probably will gag if they ever find Tayson one day. But they're 11 and 12-year-olds. So, they ain't really chasing Dallas yet. But I definitely can say, as far as the experience I had, I was always nervous about teaching while trans. So I was going to have to find a new, employment because of the fact that, a lot of times when I Google trans teachers, there's always, some type of, bad propaganda that's showing up. People getting kicked out of school. They might have a Medea representation, if you know what I mean. And it's like a point where they forget there's people like myself who can, who's doing the work as well. So I definitely think that I can't wait to see how it goes on more often and see myself moving up in education. But right now, it's a good process for me so far. No bad complaints besides bad kids, I guess.
See, but I guess that's a good transition to the next question that I was about to ask, because the question is, has any of your students' parents ever given you a hard time about your identity, or do they even know?
That's a good point. I would say I started my transition, to be exact, April 2020, pandemic time. I was able to run and go to the pharmacy, get my meds, and and do my HRT in the house when we were still locked in. I want to say I still had to go to work on August because that's when the schools opened up. So that's only not even half a year yet before I was actually, taking hormones and stuff. So I remember being able to be visibly clocked and noticeable to say, okay, there's something different about this human being. And one parent literally had told their student, they were like, oh, yeah, you're not calling that person Miss Lyons. No, you're not. And they were just like, what you mean? The kid was like, why can't I call them that? And they were just like, because that's not a miss or a mister. So you're going to have to use something else. And so it
Mm.
brought to my attention from the little baby. And that's what hurt me even more because the baby raised her hand, asked a question. They had said, yeah, I want to get your attention, but I can't say I can't say miss and I can't say Mister, and this happened in front of a whole class.
Mm.
And so I was like told from administration that oh yeah, we told the little girl to say excuse me every time they want to talk to you. And I was like, so they need to just say excuse me. I was like, what if I'm busy? What are, like I need them to be able to what name they're gonna write on their paper? Excuse me, lions? Like I'm confused. So it was just a point at the point where I was like, let me call my union and let me see if they can help me with this. And eventually, that little girl, unfortunately, was moved to a different class. She didn't want to. She wanted to be in my class, but I couldn't do it with the mom. And I wasn't going to lose my bread and butter trying to tell fish about herself. So I was like, let me just move on and go on by my life. So, yeah.
Okay, and I thought to ask those questions because like the current political views that the other side
Right.
has against like drag artists, performers, and just
Yeah.
eradication of trans people in general. I was honestly surprised that a Black trans woman can teach in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
Period.
Maybe in California,
Right.
Nevada, somewhere on the other coast, but in Texas?
I kid you not. I think I'm blessed for the genetics that my parents have gave me.
Mhm.
And the moans are doing their job. Cause honestly, I think it's because of the passability. I don't think I'm just the most passable person in the streets, but I think, the way how I know how to be every woman and it's all in me, I think it definitely helps with like me blending in. Cause to be honest, I got a new principal and I don't even know if she knows. It's not her business. I'm still gonna teach regardless. So that's all that matters.
Absolutely. Okay. That was what I just want to get out there. Go ahead, Scott.
Okay. Hold on, wait a minute. Okay, so how did you come across the Chasing Reality platform initially? Like, how did you come across it?
My first time coming across it was ironically the same way how a lot of the viewers have. It's like, oh well, you hear about it, you're like, oh, I want to see representation. Me being a new
Thank you.
transplant to Dallas, I was like, oh, okay, well let me get into it, let me see it. And so I got a chance to see some of the former seasons, skip around, look at some episodes, things like that. But as far as the process here, of this round, I would say that I seen the actual audition flyer and I was like, you know what? Let me give it a try. You get that moment where you second guess yourself and be like, girl, are you really chasing or are you really running? Like, what you doing, girl? So
All right.
I was like, let me just audition and go to the interview process. And I think people all sound cliche when they say it, but I really was shocked because I got a chance to meet some people while we were waiting to be interviewed, and everyone seemed like very, great competition. So I was honored to be on the show for sure.
Okay, I do remember seeing that flyer long ago. So I'm
Yeah.
glad that you were able to get on through because it's been a wonderful experience getting to know you through the show.
Thanks.
Absolutely.
So, in your first scenes, we see you talking about being, a part of different houses that were both in mainstream and the Kiki scene.
Right.
Now, I have still very little, knowledge about the difference between the two. So, explain to the audience what the difference between like a mainstream and a Kiki house is.
Okay, so I think the easy short answer is Kiki is JV while mainstream is varsity. And to give you even more context, it takes 1 to 4 years to be a legend in the Kiki scene, while it takes 10 years to be a legend inside the mainstream. A mainstream has a history that goes back all the way to 70s, especially at the high end of the pandemic when HIV became a rise. We needed a safe haven. That's when it started to be even more of a bigger sense of family, and the mainstream started piping up, I guess you can say. The Kiki scene started to be a place that was created to actually groom and also to be a safe haven for the younger individuals of the queer community. Because, eventually, how can I say, the gays in the 70s were very don't ask, don't tell, and then eventually you start having gays who come up a little bit, 90s, 2000s, who were like, baby, I'm 10 years old and I'm the girl in the picture. So we started to make those spaces for those individuals so they can also participate in ballroom, but not have to suffer the cutthroatness of what mainstream ballroom was. So, two
Got
different places.
Now, I thought about a question because you said it was like 4 years in the Kiki scene to be legendary.
Right.
You have to then start the 10-year to get legendary to mainstream over, or do those 4 years count towards the 10?
Now, it depends if you've been doing both. So when you see the scene with me and Robert Ray talking about Gorgeous Gucci and then me being the Kiki scene, I joined Gorgeous Gucci at the same time when I transitioned. And so I started the Kiki scene in 2019. So technically, I was doing both scenes at the same time, Kiki and mainstream, excuse me. So if you do that, then your years are accommodating. But let's say you were just a Kiki individual and you're like, oh, okay, I got my legendary status. I don't want to play with the kids no more. I want to go with the grown-ups. Then be prepared to be the kid of the grown-ups because you're going to have to work your way up to the top.
Got it. Okay. I just thought about that because I'm about to say I don't know if that starts over. Can you transfer you transfer those credits to the?
Okay, it's more so like I'm a senior of the middle school, meaning A grader, but now damn, I'm a freshman in high school, having to go through it all over again, pretty much.
Mm-hmm. Got it. Great example. So, how has the season been for you thus far? Like as a new cast member, like watching everything play back on the show.
Watching everything play back has definitely been like, it's kind of like I have virgin eyes. Yes, I am aware of the situations that are happening, but you're not in every place when it's happening. And also, too, my chasing experience is a little bit different because I am going from not just in Dallas, but to Austin, to California, to St. Louis. So when a lot of events are happening at the time frame, I might be in Alaska competing at a ball. And so when I come back, I might hear like, oh damn, that happened. And so you might hear it word of mouth from your fellow castmates, but to see it on the screen and see such certain situations, I'm just like, oh wow, oh this is spicy. I'm in the comments going into like, oh my god, I can't believe he said that. Just because it's genuine because I be really shocked at the same time.
Okay, 'cause, I mean, I know even with like productions and films and stuff that when you filming it is a completely different experience than watching it play back with all the bells, whistles, editing, and everything. So
Yes.
you watching just like we watch it.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly.
Do you feel like you left that scene that you had with Robert with a good understanding as to why he has this animosity towards Dior, or was it still kind of like a big question mark that was kind of answered, as we kind of went forward from there?
I think at that moment, I really felt like, as I said in I guess you can say, my green screen as well, I really felt like the statement about my friend not coming to support events, I think that's something that we all can agree upon. And if it was reversal as well, and Dior has said the same thing, I would have agreed on that statement too, because we have important pillars of our life. And if you're a person that you call your best friend, family member, chosen family, you want them to be there to remember the event with you. And I think that was just a point where I was just like, yeah, I will see how you feel. I can see why you're upset because where's my friend now when I need them? So
Good point.
Okay, so the September to Remember party had a lot of moving parts since it was the first time everybody met. So who did you feel stood out the most in a group and why?
I really felt like the person who stood out the most to the group was Dior, because I wasn't prepared for him to show up. I think me being the person who had the conversation with Robert to hear, oh, he doesn't come to my events, 9 to 10, he's not going to come to this one. And I have a list that, he said he has a list and he's checking it twice. I was like, when Dior walked inside the room, that was shocking because it was like, okay, prove him wrong, show up and show him that you're going to support him. So I think that was definitely one person, just the presence alone, not even the statements or anything that was done. It was the fact that his presence was in the room, and I don't think anybody else knew the turmoil that was going on. And so even when he talked to Tedley, he didn't really speak about the turmoil that was going on between them. So for me to be the one who knew, I was just like, okay, well, I'm hoping they have a conversation and talk, and they did. So that was good to see.
All right. So luckily, you're not a part of that brawl that happened between Kiki and DeAndre. Luckily, you wasn't. So tell us, what was going on in your mind when that fight went down? Because watching the fight, I had a lot of thoughts in my mind. So we want to know what was the thoughts in your mind when you was watching that fight.
So as you guys know, when the whole fight is going on, I honestly remember the fight happening, but I was in my bed falling out when I looked and seen Kiki was drinking a drink. And I was just drinking my drink and minding my business. And now looking back at that moment, I'm literally like, it felt at that moment, how can I say, as a teacher, I can see a lot of times when conflicts are going to happen, you know when sometimes enough is enough. And I think at that point, me not in my head and me just watching from afar, it was so far in the distance that I was like, oh, it was expected. This brawl was supposed to happen. It's not like, oh, so I knew that somebody was going to punch somebody, but when you have so much beef and something going on, what else you gonna do? But go in that nature. Yeah, it really didn't touch me until they started coming close to me. And as the woman, I decided to get up and go to the corner. And then I turned to the left and I see my good sister Tetley hiding behind me. And I was just like, okay, good. We got the memo. Sit down, be quiet, and hey, just relax.
I'll tell you, I am Tedley, and Tedley is me. So I do not fight. I sue.
Yes, it is you.
Do not engage in none of the foolery because we have things to lose. Amen.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
exactly.
So with the situation that was going on with like Robert, Dior, Kiki, and the best friend and stuff like that, and y'all talked about that at Trey's photo shoot. Do you agree with Robert that Dior broke the family code by potentially making an advance at Kiki? Like, do you agree with Robert's stance on the situation if that really happened?
I definitely understand that situation because I have been in moments my own self where I have stopped talking to fellow like sisters, chosen sisters of trans community because I would see them like, talking to an ex of mine or something of that nature. And it'll be a moment where it's like the difference is to me is that it's a difference if I said, hey y'all, this is my ex. Okay, nice to see you. Have a good one. But once you start breaking bread and you actually been to the house, been around this individual, and all of a sudden now this individual is potentially your individual, then that's where it's like, girl, were you plotting on me the whole entire time? Do I feel like that was the situation that happened with them? No, because I'm completely clueless between them. But I definitely can empathize on like how that does make somebody feel as far as the family code. But also too, I have to realize that along with me as a trans woman, it's not that many men who are openly attracted to trans women. So that was a moment when I had to mature and realize it might be 10 trans women and 2 men who are attracted in that ratio. So you're going to end up running to somebody else's ex because of the fact that you're looking for someone you're still looking to date. So I think there were so many like things thrown into the bag at that point that was just really like factors per se.
Mm-hmm.
And I know me and Scotty talked about this, and I was speaking about it amongst my other friends that watched the show. We, as the audience, to really get a good perception of the situation happening between Dior and Robert and his issue, depends on so many outside factors. Like, we need to know what relationship does Tony have with Dior,
Right.
and then like for example, Scotty and I are best friends, but Scotty's other best friend doesn't always equate to my best friend.
Right.
Mhm.
So if that's somebody that I don't even know who they're dating, really it doesn't matter.
I absolutely agree on that statement. If you
There's
guys
no
are like,
loyalty.
that out. Yeah. We have to
However, if
valid.
you know him, then okay, now we have to ask more questions because is it like was him and Keith's relationship like, a hookup on the red box or the
Not the red
yellow
box.
box? Or was it a significant relationship? You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Because
Questions that need to be answered.
if it was just a hookup, friends share meat all the time. And if you have this is why we have to understand the stipulations of the relationship between the people involved. Because
Right.
I can't be mad if Kiki and the man just hooked up. Because I mean, really, and it was 4 years ago. That man is married. So none of
Right.
this matters.
Right. I mean, like you said, I think those are definitely the biggest caveats of the situation. Knowing those things is definitely something that can help us with the answers. But I realized when I was watching the video, a lot of people did make some valid points and they all said the same thing. In reality, whatever's done in the dark, yes, it's going to come to the light, but regardless, it's not our business. And I was just like, well, I'm going to drink what I can drink and sip the tea that I get. But if I don't get enough tea, then I'm just going to have to be lingering there for more. And I think that's what we're all doing at this point.
Okay, honestly, we are absolutely lingering for more because I'm trying to piece these things together.
Okay.
So we get to Astro's birthday party.
Right.
And this whole issue resurfaces with Robert and Dior, back into the same room. And they're going back and forth. And what was interesting, because I felt like this was important because it kind of went by really quick. You had made a comment saying that DeAndre had came up to you and said, I didn't know they were talking. And then you said, yeah, they told us. That's right.
Yes.
They said. Who was the they you were referring to in that moment?
So a lot of times, child, y'all know I'm so proper. I be saying they because pronouns and things like that. So I definitely feel like my they was for a singular individual. But when I go back in time and have my That's So Raven moment, I remember, sitting there in that circle, and that was my first time meeting everybody. And I remember rejoicing and talking to everyone. And me and DeAndre actually met around the interview time frame and walking and passing. So I'm like, oh, DeAndre, good to see you again. We both rejoiced. And I'm like, Kiki is so handsome. I remember him on the show and he is handsome. And we both said yes. And then, time flies. And then situations happen, seats, statements and things like that. And then that's at the point where me and DeAndre both had a little small talk, and that was at the same time when everybody was having a small talk by the food area. And that's where I was like, he said, I didn't know they were talking. I said, yeah, they just said it. And that day was Kiki's remark when he had said, sometimes you don't know who knows each other in the room or something in that nature. And that was said on the clip as well in the circle. And that was ironically to see that happen and to see the conversation that happened over there about the small food area and to see his response to Astro. It was at that point where in my head, I'm like, leave it alone. They talking, move on, going back to that, but
so
hey,
it was
now
that was the they that you're referring to.
Yes.
Now, see, we just talked to Kiki last week.
Well, have you guys seen the recent episode? If you take a moment and go to Chasing right now, the Instagram, you can see there was a moment when they're talking. Astro, Kiki, Dior, Trey, all of them are talking in a huddle over there in a circle. And that statement was as Astro asked, like, are you guys got something going on? And then it's clarified as nothing really, just don't leave me lying. Just go look at the clip.
It's like, they say it's nothing happening, but Kiki do be the only one that would slip up and say something like, we're cool, like we really, really cool. And then in the interview, he was like, oh, in the beginning, there may have been some flirting. And I was like, how long was the beginning?
Right.
Because the beginning can be, beginning of a relationship could be a few months, a year.
Right.
Like,
yeah. But you know, me myself, hey, if I told y'all that my favorite color is blue, I want y'all to believe my favorite color is blue. And I feel like, you know, once they told me that, listen, we're not talking, that's my manager, it made me literally flip a switch. I was just like, oh, okay, so how long you been, you know, in the management business? I just took it from what it was. But of course, you know, when you have so many clips and clips are clips and they, you know, clipping, you just gotta go with the clip. You know?
With the clip, and you just follow in line.
That's it.
So, switching gears for a bit, let's talk about the scene that you had at Morehouse here in Atlanta, which is where we got to meet. I was letting people know, like, it was extremely hot
Yeah.
that day.
Mm-hmm.
We was sweating
Yeah.
boots on
It
that.
looked like it was hot too.
Oh my God, I had a turtleneck on, a jacket. I just knew it was gonna be windy, breezy Chicago. Hell no.
Jeez. But anyway, you get to meet up with two people that you considered, you know, like your gay kids. So kind of
Yes.
a quick explanation of what like gay family is, what some of those terms mean for those that may not be familiar.
I'm so glad you mentioned this because last night I was literally talking to my boo, and when I was telling him, he was just like, "Why these dudes keep on calling you mother?" Like he didn't really understand the concept, and I literally had to just explain to in heteronormative terms the same way how somebody might say, "Hey, unc, what's up, pops?" Is literally the same way how you say mother or like. That's my sister. It's I guess you can say a gratitude of showing that there's a connection between the two of mentorship in some type of way. And I really didn't tap into motherhood until I met those two. And it all started because I was an RA. And I was their RA. And that's where I kind of seen like the beam of light. And they got so affectionate to me because Morehouse is a very 1970 don't ask don't tell, you know, you meet the boy in the back of the room and you leave out type of situation. So for me to be a walking representation of queerness, that kind of made them be able to come to me, ask questions, things of that nature. And so they've been my kids from this moment on. I went to get my boobs done down there in Atlanta. When I had got them done, they were there to help me out and get me from the hospital. My biological brother came down as well. It was very family oriented, and they'll be my kids until hell. I think I'm a grandma already too. So you know how it goes.
Because I was explaining it to someone else, and they were kind of wondering, like, they thought that, you know, the gay mom and the gay children had to have more of a significant age difference.
Right.
And like, it really, it's just a matter of respect thing. Like you said,
Right.
mentorship was probably like one of the key words. And it just depends on like the relationship. Age really doesn't play that much of a factor in it.
No, exactly. I have kids. I literally have one of my ballroom children who's now became my personal child is literally older than me. He's like 3 to 4 years older than me, but he still sees me as a mother, still respects me as a leader, and still mentions me as like the woman in his life who's giving him guidance. So yeah.
Well, this is a refreshing conversation because me being in the community, I know nothing about gay families. I see it all the time, and I never really understood it, never really bothered to ask about it because I used to hear people all the time, especially where I'm from. Well, that's my gay mama. I'm like, okay, that's my gay daddy. Oh, okay, that's my gay grandmama. I'm like, what
Right.
the fuck is a gay grandmama? Like, I didn't. Like, I don't know none of that.
It's really great to have, and I didn't start developing mine in Houston until I started getting into drag, and so then I have like my gay daddy. I have so many sisters, nieces, and so it's just good to feel like you have family outside of your own family in the event that your real family isn't accepting of who you are in its totality.
Right.
So there's always like a place you can go and people you can, you know, congregate with that you can just be completely open and safe.
And safe, exactly. That's a good word because y'all remember when the fight happened. When the fight had happened, word of mouth went by quick, you know, because you could see in the scene, Kiki calls his cousins to come, and you know, and at that point, you know, the streets end up hearing it. And the reason why I bring that up is I remember my family group chat going off, and they were like, Kiki, you okay? We on the way. Drop a look. I got your location. You good? Did anybody hurt you? And it was just a moment of like, y'all, listen, I'm literally just drinking a drink and relaxing. But thank y'all so much. I felt the like safeness, I guess you can say. I felt safety right then and there. And so, okay.
This is why Jamar be telling people I'm not really gay because I'm so ignorant to a lot of things that's gay.
Ah!
But honestly, I wouldn't have had it either if I didn't go to the places that I went to in Houston while I was there.
Right.
That's where I got like a real crash course and got to experience a lot of the culture just by being in it. So it's the only way to get there.
And see, the thing about me is that I didn't even go to like gay clubs up until I think the first time I went to a gay club, it was for my 24th birthday. And then that was the last time I went. And then I went back. I started back going again at 26. And when I was there, I just did not feel like there was somewhere I needed to be. Not necessarily not needed to be, but I felt out of place. I don't know. I've always felt a little disconnected with our community for whatever reason. And every time I say that, people don't understand what I'm glad I have a friend like Jamar that understands what I'm saying and tries to give me, the tools to learn about it, because like I would always tell people, I'm like, I feel very disconnected from my own community. And they'll be like, why? And I'm like, I don't know why. It's like I go to gay clubs and, but in all essence of my personality, I'm kind of like an introvert, extrovert anyway. You can ask Jamar, like when I'm around people I don't really know, I really don't say much. Yeah. So it's kind of like, or I've had certain experiences where I've been in all gay events, and because I am who I am and how I am, sometimes I don't get the best reception. People have their preconceived notion about me. Oh, he's stuck up. He is. He that. And that ain't even what it is. You guys, Jamar, I'm probably one of the coolest people. It may be hard for you to learn that because of my, ability of being introverted. It may be hard to crack that wall open to get to know me, but I'm actually a really cool person. So what I've always told Jamar, because at this point we've been friends for 10 years now, I had never been friends with a person that did drag, or never hung around a person that did drag, or do androgynous things that Jamar does. And at first, I remember when I first met him, or when we first started being friends, I'm like, why do you be wearing all that makeup? Why is you putting that makeup on? But I had to get, the more I got used to it, the more I'm like, well, that's just a part of who he is, and that's a part of his aesthetic. So it wasn't me, because people try to call it a self-hate thing, and it's not that I was self-hating or hating who I was, because I was fine with who I was. It's just that there were certain things that I didn't understand, but I'm thinking it's because of the fact of the type of family I came from, because I was more so raised with my mother's family, and they, her grandfather was a pastor, and a lot of them are Christian and well-educated people. So and I'm the only person of the LGBT that's in that family. No one else, as far as I know, nobody else is gay but me. So it's just like, but on my dad's side, I'm just about everybody gay. I got cousins that's gay. I got auntie, just about everybody gay. So when I started hanging out with my dad's side of the family, I felt a little bit more of a relief, because I have plenty of gay cousins. So as with me being 34, I'm still learning, but I always say that it's a plus to have a friend like Jamar who knows this shit, who understands the shit, because I don't understand it, and I'm still learning as I go. That's why Jamar would be telling people, "Oh, he gay. He just
not the hey girl, but the hey child."
Okay.
Yeah, like he'd be like, "Oh, he gay. He's just a straight man stuck in a gay man's body in a sense." That's what
that just comes from experience. If I wasn't in it, I wouldn't know about it either.
Right.
So,
thank you for sharing. I feel like I'm learning. Okay.
Yeah, because I feel like these conversations are good to have, especially when we're doing like interviews like this. And then plus I'm more of an open book anyway. So when somebody bring up stuff that kind of applies to me, or that I like kind of understand, and I feel the need to open up and just, especially if you give me the space and I feel comfortable enough to open up, I will. Because let me tell you something about this person next to me. He be like, bitch, you don't want to know nobody. Every time I introduce you to somebody, you don't want to know nobody. It ain't that I don't want to know nobody. I got to trust your ass first. It take me a minute. I have to observe you first. So,
well, I'm glad you trust me to tell me that.
no problem.
So we had gathered that you hadn't had a chance to fully transition at the time that you were at Morehouse. So were
Right.
you experiencing any sort of dysmorphia at that time, or was your transition something that you even noticed was there?
You know, I came into the school trying to give like realness with a twist, meaning like, I was definitely hyper mass, but girl, I was there girly at the same time. The elite gays knew, but the homeboys of the school literally were like trying to put me on with girls and stuff, and that was freshman year. Um, by that time I got my like first refund check, boo. I just remember going to the hair salon and I left out like this. I was just long and luxurious. But I had that time frame. I wasn't afraid to. When I say Uncle Clifford, that's what it was given. It was like Uncle Kiki. Like I had the beard, the nails, and I just knew that I wanted long hair. And I was like, if my hair is not gonna grow in time, I'm gonna buy it at this point. And I think once that representation happened, somebody told me, they were like, girl, you're paying $50,000 a year here. If you want to spend the extra $300 on some bundles, bitch, do it. You might as well. You already paid your bills. So at this point, and live your life. And that's what ended up being like my pipeline. It started from wearing hair to buying like girl clothing. And it would be like 80% boy clothing, 20% girl. And then I started to realize like towards like senior year, I don't even think, only thing I probably owned that was boy was like t-shirts. And I was like literally just 24/7, as we might say, a 24/7 drag. I wasn't having no beards on my face. I remember Spelman had created like a transgender policy that said that if you're a transgender woman, you can go to the school. I was walking on campus and people were like, so when are you transferring? And they already immediately assumed that I was, the girl in the picture. I remember telling them, I was like, baby, Spelman costs $60,000 and they don't have scholarships. So I'm not going when I got a full ride at Morehouse. I'm going to stay and be just fine, especially because at the time frame, I took classes at Spelman anyway. So I did not any dysmorphia inside myself because the college was welcoming, but just little undercover stuff. Like if they took a picture of the students, they would try to make sure that I wasn't in it. Or if we had a tour that was happening and students will come by, they'd be like, oh, who's that person? They go to Morehouse? Oh no, they go to Clark. They would say like I went to Clark Atlanta or something. When I graduated, I remember graduating across the stage in full drag, and I walked across, and my drag has never been like RuPaul drag. It's always been like, oh, you see her from the back, she looks like a woman type of situation. And so when I walked across that stage, the alumni was like, what the fuck is going on? Because one man literally thought that I was somebody's mom taking a degree for that student. Child, he literally went off. He was like, they letting fucking drag queens get Morehouse degrees. I ain't never put no money in this situation. It was time to finally go home, child. It was my trade's dad. And it was such a gap because my trade was like, congratulations, gave me a hug, you look so beautiful. And then I look at his fucking dad was the one who was talking shit about me. So it was just moments where I was just like, I'm happy to be done with Morehouse, but I do want these girls to know that bitch, there was an Uncle Kiki that went to Morehouse. Okay, the girls know it, okay?
Well, I'm gonna say this: when you brought up that refund check, when you got your first refund check and you did what it did with it, I can totally agree with that. Because when I was in college, when I first went to college, my wardrobe wasn't about a damn thing. So this was like in 2008. So when I got that first refund check, I went straight to the mall, bought me all types of plaid shorts, all types of t-shirts.
Was the trend in 2008.
Yeah, all the little collar shirts, the little Rocco wear collar shirts and shit.
Yes.
I know all about that.
Exactly.
When you talk about the 24/7 drag, that is, if that alone lets me know I have no transition in my identity, because I cannot go after. I can pass 5 hours. That's it.
Let me tell you a story real fast. all the while I had been friends with Jamar, I had never seen him like I've never been around. I had never been around him while he was getting ready to go. So because I have always lived in different states. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
when we were in Atlanta, this was before he even moved to Atlanta. He was still in California then, but we was in Atlanta at the same time. So he was staying in my hotel room that day, well, that weekend rather. And we was getting ready to go somewhere that day. And that I think I was hung over from getting drunk all that night. And while I'm throwing up in he's in the bathroom putting on his makeup and all this stuff. I'm throwing up at the toilet. And while I'm down on my knees throwing up, he's steady putting the makeup on his face like, here, girl. Here you go.
Okay,
Here you go.
get it ready.
I don't know if I had you like toilet tissue or a towel or something. I'm just like, girl, here.
Yeah, because he got up at like 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning. And I'm like, why are you up so early? Because I'm still thinking about me. Like I could just get up, throw on my clothes, put on my little fedora hat, and put my earrings on and be done with it. But he gotta go in and do all this. He gotta put titties on and do all this other stuff. So it's hilarious to me now. It's hilarious to me now when I see it.
But see, the good thing, Jamar, it's good that you know the process and what time to be ready, because people have that stigma to say female figures, regardless of how you identify, they're always late, and it's because you be having to put on body armor, war paint, you gotta make sure your helmet is on good, we try to get out there and get ready for the war, so I definitely can agree on that.
Oh yes, he was going in, I'm telling you.
Do that just to be in it. I mean, you're going to look sickening, but you are uncomfortable as
yes,
he was definitely uncomfortable.
That is true.
So by the time I'm like, I'm ready to just
okay.
He couldn't wait till we got back to their room. He hurried up and snatched all that shit out.
I'm ready to pull out, be a blunt, and be ready to do this.
And honestly, Jamar, that was like one of the biggest things that made me like think that I wasn't ready to transition, like you said, was because of being in it. And I literally remember laying like at my house sometimes, I'd be like, girl, no, you be taking that wig off too fast. You ain't ready. Or I'd be like, oh, girl, no, you don't even know how to keep a lash on more than, the whole day. And then I had to realize, I'm like, wait a minute, girl. Your cousin barely wear lashes. Your auntie don't wear nails. Your sister TT, she ain't gonna do this. It was just at the moment I was like, girl, shut the fuck up and live your life.
And what's really funny about this, because he does makeup and shit all the time, he's dying to do something to paint my face, and I would never let him.
What I'm looking at,
listen, Kiki, listen. He do makeup too. I said this bitch got cheekbone. She has bone structure.
You got teeth, okay?
Bone structure. She can look just like her mama.
Oh my God.
You gonna gag, Miss Thing.
I'll be like, it's gonna have to be something that's gonna allow me to let you do that. Because I keep saying that's never gonna happen, Jamar. He said, oh bitch, you gonna let me paint that motherfucking face? I'm like, no, I'm not.
I'm just gonna take an inch. I'm gonna take the whole mile. Titties, body.
Oh no, we ain't going there.
Yes. Y'all know Giselle Royale Barbie?
Dude, I probably sounds very familiar.
She's like a big pageant girl, but she's also like the mother Tishi. She just won that money. Real chocolate, beautiful girl.
I think you said Gia. I think this Gia is the only one that
But the reason why I bring her up is because they've been doing these things called what's those things called? Turnovers or something. Turnabouts, yeah. When they'll make the males become the females and the females become the males, and they'll have like a big prize. I think, Scotty, that might be the thing to get you in, because you might be able to get that money. Where the money reside?
Listen, I'm just saying, this is one good time for the culture.
Do it.
So for the next question, y'all not gonna get me. I'm telling you, y'all not gonna get me. But would you recommend an HBCU over a PWI? Why or why not?
I would definitely recommend an HBCU over a PWI because I had 3 choices. when I was graduating. It was a PWI here in Texas called Texas Christian University. Actually, in one of the episodes, you see Winter has on the jacket.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was Howard University and Morehouse College. I really was like, I was a finalist for TCU and they had a full ride. You didn't have to pay anything, no loans or nothing. And I remember interviewing and I was like, got denied, and I was so upset because I was like, oh, girl, that was gonna be perfect. I could stay home, blah, blah, blah. But it was a wake-up call to me when I went and traveled to Morehouse. I didn't drive. I flew and only had 2 bags to my name and got there. And at that point, when I was at that experience, I was like, senior year, I remember crying when turning my tassel and just being like, if it wasn't for Morehouse, I wouldn't have learned how to do everything that I need to do. They had taught me how to take my background of being, you know, an orphan, a low economic person, taking it and being successful, but also still having a mind of hustling to know how to be more than what you are. And I feel like being around my people as well, I learned a lot about our community that I didn't really get a chance to in a school system, because a lot of times they try to keep that covered up. And so you're in world history learning about Black people and why Dominicans are really Black, you know, when they really are telling you that they're not, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then you start understanding what an African diaspora is, you know. You start going to the moment where you start being the education teachers for Black and brown babies. It was a moment for me to actually say that it was a good experience. I even had white and Hispanic kids who went to Morehouse as well, who said that they wouldn't trade it either. They felt like it was definitely a way for them to like learn from a community that it is uprising, and also being able to be around people who, you know, was family, because we all gonna be family at the end of the day.
That's
Like,
facts.
the culture of an HBCU will follow you for a lifetime.
Yes.
Cannot express the pride that comes with going to an HBCU. You can graduate from an HBCU 30 years ago, and you come to the homecoming just as live as the current student.
Oh my God, yes. I cannot wait to go to homecoming, because the day when I go as Kiki, oh baby, they're gonna think a city girl came in. Because boo, it's giving short shorts, little top, drinks, and I'm having a fun ass time.
Okay, well, we know you can't speak too much on the outcome of the rest of the season, which we wish that you could, because I want to know. However, what can the audience expect from Kiki for the remainder of the season without giving too much away?
OMG. As I said before, Kiki, her chasing is a little bit different than just the average career-driven chasing, because I'm grateful to be in a career that I enjoy. But my chasing is something that is bringing Ballroom to a platform that people can be educated in. I think you're going to be able to see that standpoint and what is all the dividends in the Ballroom, but also being able to see a girl who might be chasing Dallas, but once again, chasing Alaska, chasing Norway, chasing, you know, your granny house, you know. I'm just chasing at this point. So I hope you guys can catch me while you can before I be chasing outer space eventually. So
Come on, chasing Galactica.
yeah, exactly. There you go.
Okay, so did you guys have like a cash trip this year? And if so, how would you describe the trip without giving too much away?
OMG. I would say, yes, eventful. There you go.
Girl.
That's gonna be the day where you need a bottle of wine, some popcorn.
Y'all are a very interesting group of people. Y'all are a very interesting group of people.
Oh, but that's what makes good TV.
And know? I can't wait. I'm already waiting on a reunion.
Oh, look at that. I'm excited too.
Oh, the reunion is going to be a fool.
The reunion is going to be a mess. Like, it's
just from episode 4, just the mess that you can reunion right now.
You can reach everything
right now.
OMG.
because there's a lot going on. Like
It is.
some of these interviews might not make it any better.
OMG. Okay. That
That's
is true. And you know me myself, if you catch me, a lot of times, you know, a lot of people have been saying that they've been making memes of me because in reality, when you look back, try to be something that's going on every time. And I would literally just be like, ooh, okay. You know, I sit back as a woman and mind my business because that a lot of times it's better for my presence to be there than to hop into these barbaric situations. So,
okay. Come on, Barbarian.
Definitely barbaric.
So, what advice would you give to somebody who's just now getting on reality TV for the first time, like for say season 5 of Dallas?
Mm. I would say the first thing is to not overthink it and to be your authentic self. Because reality TV, sometimes people get the idea that you have to put on a persona, because a lot of people do. When the camera comes on, boom, you're a new person. And so I definitely want to remind those people to be your authentic self because that's what comes naturally. That's what's going to be the thing that makes the people love you who don't know you. That's what's going to make you a household name. And I
Mhm.
think that's the point where I think the authentic being authentic is going to be a part where you can now not have to worry about conflict because you know how to resolve it because you're thinking in the mindset that you already got versus thinking what will Beyonce do or what would Kim K do. My last name might be Kardashian, but I'm still Kiki at the end of the day. So I definitely want to make sure that they understand to be your authentic self.
People don't. Okay, people don't, and I'm glad that you made that statement because people really believe that authenticity is a thing that doesn't exist. It does exist because when you're doing like reality TV or you're doing what me and Jamar are doing, it's the authenticity that attracts people to you. If they can see that you're being real and that you're being authentically you and not playing like
Right.
a part or playing something that you're not, then that attracts people to you and it makes people want to, make people want to rock with you and whatever you got going on.
Right.
Because a lot of the times when people can see that you're portraying something or someone that you're not, or when they see that you're pretending, then it makes you not appealing, especially to me, because I'm the type of person that's all about, being real about shit and being your authentic self. And when I tell you how I am on this camera is exactly how I am outside of the damn camera. It's just that simple. So I'm never going to pretend or try to trick people into thinking that I'm something that I'm not. But people got to
Right.
realize that it's the likability. Like a lot of the times when you're authentic, it ups the likability factor, and people don't understand
Mhm.
it.
That's true. And child, sometimes people start, have forgetting what they did on TV, on the camera time. And so now when you get into green screens, you forget that you had the ass on on this scene here. And it's just like, child, if you was yourself, you wouldn't have to worry about what Brenda, Alicia, and Tawanda did. Because you was Kiki at the beginning, at the end, in the middle. So
Period.
Exactly.
Would you return for another season?
I would love to return in another season. I definitely think that would be exciting to do.
And I think we touched on this a little bit earlier. Is that, are you excited for the reunion? Do you feel like you need a bulletproof vest or like sage?
My
Sage.
only request is to it seems like I need to be sitting close to the host because a lot of times they're gonna protect the host. So I want to be really next to the host. So I'll be just fine. I don't want no corner seat, because that's where, charging and stuff happens. I don't know what's gonna happen. So I need to be sitting next to the host as close as possible. I'm probably gonna sit in the chair with them.
Oh, okay. That'd be a new one. I don't think anybody's ever done that.
And there we go.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Okay. So now that we're at the end of the interview, what we do all the time with our interviews is play games. My favorite part of the interviews. I think we have how many games? I think we have maybe, is it two? It's two games, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the first game is basically fuck, Mary kill. So the people that you have for this game is you got Lon D, you got Dior, and you got Tony, who is Robert's best friend. Fuck, Mary kill.
Oh Lord. Here we go. Oh. Well, I'm happy that they're all handsome, so that's good. But it makes it harder because it's
I
like,
wasn't gonna do you like that.
okay. Well, I would say I would marry Lundy. Um, I would. Oh my god. I would. I probably would fuck Dior because I can't have sex with my actual somebody who was my father of a house before, so I could not have sex with him. So I would have to go ahead and boom if it wasn't
Fair
oh,
enough.
Lord,
Fair
there we
enough.
go. That was a hard one.
Okay, look, I tried to come up with something and said, let me see if I can make this interesting.
Yeah, you did that.
Yes, he definitely did that. Okay, so the next game is basically a game where we call out everybody on the cast, everybody's name on the cast, and when we say their name, you say the first thing that comes to mind, whether it be one word or whether it be a sentence, just how you feel about that particular person.
Okay.
Okay, so the first name is Trey Howard.
Trey Howard, Village Creek Apartments, Fort Worth, Texas. Very much so. Take me back to the days that we grew up. Okay.
I love it. I love Trey. Trey's one of my faves.
Yes.
Tedley.
Oh, Tetley, my cheetah girl. Don't say if there was another woman on the if there was another woman on the show, it would be Tetley. Don't say.
That's a Tedley, rich auntie.
He
Yes,
do.
Auntie. That's what it's
He
giving.
do. He definitely do. Kiki.
Kesey, I would say so handsome, but so shy.
Yes, he
But
is.
it's so adorable.
Mhm.
It's so endearing. But he's
Yes,
fine.
yes. But that's a humble spirit because sometimes, it'd be some people who don't look good at all, who think they the shit. We come on now. But so I appreciate the humbleness, but sometimes I'd be like, brother, you don't gotta be.
You
Talk
fine.
your shit,
Be fine. Enjoy it.
Bingo.
Right.
There you go.
Shit. Sean.
Ooh, Sean. Atlanta Queen High, more very much so my Morehouse sister. If she could have went to Morehouse, he could have went to Morehouse, and I would have believed it if he would have said it for sure. The class, the accent, it just sounds like sweet tea.
Okay, Jet Jeff.
Oh, Jet Jeff. Jet Jeff is, I would definitely say, face of the Cedar Springs, and Cedar Springs is like our neighborhood.
Mhm.
You go down that strip, as soon as people say, "Aren't you Kiki?" They say, "Yeah, I watched Chasing Dallas because of Jet Jeff." And that scene, if you could impact that, then you're doing something. So he had a name before he even got here. So.
Okay, period. Shout out to Jeff.
Mm-hmm.
Astro.
Astro, ironically, a lot of people don't know, but Astro is definitely my grandbaby. My actual gay son is his father. So that word will probably be grandbaby. And I would definitely say the next up and coming.
Definitely a superstar.
Robert Ray.
Robert Ray, a protector. I would say for me myself a protector, and that's how I met him first. I didn't even know about him and chasing. It was more so, baby girl, I'm gonna watch you, and that was 2020. I would say he's outspoken, and he's very cutthroat.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, you either learn to love it, or you learn to leave it alone, or hate it. So.
I agree. Lon D.
Lundy. Lundy was a person that I would say has grown upon me during time. We got very close. Something that you said, Scotty, earlier made me remember Lundy when you said that going to the scene wasn't your speed. Lundy getting to know me and getting to know who I was as a femme queen, it definitely helped us create a bond and to actually gain more respect to each other. So I would definitely see Lundy as my big brother slash boyfriend.
Dior.
Dior, oh, fashionista. I don't think I ever seen a moment with Dior being dull, from the hairstyles to the attire. Baby, I kid you not, we ended up going somewhere to like a gas station. It was still a look. It's a fashionista. So
Fashionista. Last but not least,
Certainly not least.
who?
DeAndre.
DeAndre. DeAndre is actually, I would love to say a teddy bear, and I don't mean it in the sexual form because you know it apparently is Bear Weekend in around the world. But meaning a teddy bear, in as far as a have you guys ever watched the movie Ted?
The talking bear.
The talking bear?
Yeah.
Okay, and we know what the talking bear is, very vulgarity. You know, he doesn't care about the words he say. But in reality, we know that that bear was once like a toy to be, you know, for child amusement. I think learning from DeAndre and meeting him, very cool and calm and collected, but a very strategic individual and knows how to play the game correctly. And that's when it comes to reading. That's when it comes to success and like what he's chasing. And I think that's where the differences come on because we have a lot of smart people. I went to Morehouse. DeAndre went to FAMU. Sean went to Albany State. That's 3 power HBCUs right then and there. And yes, Morehouse stays out of it, but boom, you see that's the reason why they're going in as they do it sometimes. So.
All right. Well, look, at the end of our interviews, one of the things that we like to ask our guests is, you know, did you feel like you had a good time? Do you feel like Scotty and I did our jobs as the host of the show? Like, give us your feedback.
Oh, yes. I really feel like I had a great time. When you heard the word interview, you know, me, myself, as being a corporate client, I typically think, gotta step up, you know, nice to meet you, how are you doing, you know, but to be able to powwow, y'all didn't say nothing about my Wendy's cup I've been drinking. It's been a great time.
Like a red one, so what would I look like judging you?
Thank you. So definitely I have had a good time, and I think you guys know how to like bounce back off each other. You guys definitely have 2 different types of queerness that needs to be displayed, and it's very a chance to I guess you could say show different points of view. So thank you all.
Absolutely. It's definitely been a pleasure. We thank you again for gracing us with your presence.
Yeah.
And we are vastly enjoying, let's say, this program that you are a part of because this is the tea.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Yes. Thank you all so much for this opportunity.
Oh yeah, absolutely. If you ever want to come back, you always know how to find us.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Well, thank you so much for coming on, Kiki, and we definitely appreciate it. And I would say that this interview really opened up my eyes to you in a little bit more than I've seen so far on the show, because a lot of the times the drama gets a lot of the focus, and sometimes we don't get to see everything. So this interview really made me look at you differently. Not to say that I ever disliked you or anything like that, because it's people on the show that I just But however, you like it made me get to know you a little bit more, and because of your personality, it made me open up to you while we was up here. Because some of the stuff that I did say, I wasn't expecting to be saying it up here. But yeah, it's your spirit that allowed me to open up. So thank you for coming up.
Thank you so much.
I have one last thing I just thought about.
Mm-hmm.
What can you speak on? What details can you give us about that intruder alert at the end of that episode?
Oh my God. I just know that I received that message, and when I received the message, I was like, who's playing on my phone? And I mean, it was very much so like, who is this? Like, you know, wanting to know what's going on. At that time frame, I can just definitely say that I was confused. But hey, you'll see that my confusion will be soothed in the next episode. So
Great way to put it. Great way to put it. I just want to see what you could give us, but we'll be tuning in next week.
yes, I will be too. So I'll see y'all in the chats. You know?
Well, all right then, Kiki. We don't want to take up any more of your time, so you are free to walk on up out of here, child.
Okay, you all. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye bye. All right, you guys, and that was our interview with Miss Kiki from Chasing Dallas. I love that interview. This is probably gonna be the ones that I go back because there's some interviews that I go back and I watch from time to time. Then there's some where I try to pretend like we didn't do them. But however, maybe because I didn't like it or because I wasn't on my A game that day. Because one of the interviews that I can't stand to look at is the Eli Liberty interview when
not because of Eli Liberty,
not because of Eli Liberty, because my ass was damn near dead having COVID, and Jamar still told me, "Well, listen. We still have to do the interview, Scotty. We still have to do." I said, "I'm sick."
Well, only because we had scheduled it and they gave me a hard time to schedule that interview.
Bitch, I thought I was gonna die up there. Do you hear me? I thought I was gonna die up there. But that was one of the ones I do not like to look back at. Oh my God. Oh, Jesus. It was not on my A game, but it is what it is. But we also just to let you guys know, we got another interview already booked, which we booked today, where Jamar booked it, because Jamar be thinking on his feet. He'll come to me, okay, what's your schedule? Because we got this going on, we got that going on. So what you got going on? So he came with it today. So I'm about to put it on the screen, and Jamar's going to tell y'all more about it. So this is our interview for next week.
Baby, we got Miss Trey Howard in the building. Trey has been one of the 3 integral parts of this season with this family divide, Chasing Dallas season. And is he lying? Is he telling the truth? Is he extra messy? We're going to talk about all of that next week right here on Prelude. So make sure y'all are tuned in.
Yes, God, I can't wait for that interview because I got a feeling that interview is gonna be one of the ones that start some shit.
Let's get to the shit.
I feel like that's gonna be one of the interviews that starts some shit. Because remember, one of our interviews have started some shit before.
A couple of times, but that's all right.
What was the only one that I can remember that started some shit was the Eric James one. That definitely started some shit.
Eric James one, and then I remember the things that Troy said about Jay was used in Atlanta last season.
It was when the reunion was coming up. It was. Oh my God.
Speaking of which, they're right there in the chat.
There they go right there. Thank you, Chasing Reality, for letting us know we did a good interview. But listen, I'm telling you.
How do you get them to come up on the screen?
Let me do it right now. There it is. There it is. Okay. Listen, dog, I said, I feel like that Trey Howard interview is going to be one of the one, because depending on who we all are able to get this time around, that's going to be one of the, I feel like that's going to be one of the ones that create some BS. I got to feel it.
It's going to see. I cannot wait. And Trey has been ready just to let us look, just wherever you want me to come, I'm ready. So I said, let's do it.
Yes. Okay. Like we got a lot of, we already told y'all when the prelude had been on a break for a long time. The last interview we did was back in October when I did the Letitia interview. But that was back in October. So, and we did our very first interview in a very long time at the end of February. Look at Ramon. Hey Ramon, I see you. But yeah, that was the one. when we did the interview with Alex and what's that guy name? Daryl. That was the very first one. So we did tell y'all that when we come back, we coming back with interviews back to back, child. Okay. Before we go, somebody got a question off topic. Have y'all reached out to Escape for an interview SWV? Well, I know for a fact that I reached out to Tamika from Escape for an interview. Because we was doing that for Roaster Review, because Josiah wanted us to try to get interviews for that, but I don't know. I'm still waiting, but I know Jamar would love to have some of them on our show. I'm the head candy on the show, so but we'll see. But just to let you guys know before we do go, we are. Somebody said if y'all get DeAndre on here, it would be a miss in the child.
Send positive vibes my way. I'm gonna attempt to do that. I don't know how that's gonna go. I mean, I've met DeAndre at least once. He's cool in person, but I just don't know how open I don't know how public he wants to be with this. So wish me luck. I would love to have him up there.
Listen, he's going to try to ask just about everybody this season to come before an interview, because some of the times we don't get to interview everybody. So we're going to try to interview at least the majority of the cast this season, depending on what they bring or whatever, what type of conversation we could possibly have with them. We're going to try to bring as many people from Chasing as possible. So yeah, that's the plan. That's what we're trying to do. So and another thing that I wanted to say before I saw that comment was, Jamar and I, like we said before, we're trying to do things at another level with the Prelude. With us getting the interview with Candy and the interview with the girls on Bill Collective and Love and Marriage Huntsville. We do want to, in addition to doing interviews with the web series cast members, we do want to branch out and do other interviews with people like a Candy or like a Latrice or like a Miss Wanda, people like that, or even going into, because we even talked about interviewing older cast members from Bad Girls Club and shit, like doing nostalgic interviews as well. Like we are really trying to wrap our minds around exactly what we want to do as far as the show is concerned, because we don't want to stay in one lane forever. So we're going to try to do it all as much as we can. And on top of that, Jamar, have you noticed that I think next month maybe or May is going to make 3 years of the Prelude?
Oh Lord. That time have flown by.
3 years of the Prelude, and we have 15 more episodes to go before we get to our 100th episode of the Prelude. This is episode 85 right here.
Oh, that's a lot of episodes. We've been up here for a few hours.
Yeah.
I'd be watching that intro and I'd be like, we did that.
Oh, we did.
I look at that every time and be like, we did that, bitch.
Oh, listen, we did. Okay, we did it. Like, I feel like we deserve the right to big ourselves up, because listen, we never thought that the Prelude would be where it is today. You know what I'm saying? Like, people can say whatever they want to say about our platform and what we do with it or whatever, because like we said, we know that the Prelude is a niche type show, and we know what our audiences are. So we know that if we get people like Candy or Miss Wanda or somebody like that, of course that's going to get the most views. We already know that. But we like to interview the people from the web series because they need somewhere to go. There's other places that they can go. We already know that, but yes, they need somewhere to go. Like, they need somewhere to go to talk about their stuff, talk about the show, talk about whatever, because no matter what, even though the Prelude is not a show that garners big numbers all the time, there's still going to be somebody that probably don't even know this person and will probably be curious enough to click on the video and watch it. You feel what I'm saying? So the numbers thing really doesn't bother me. The thing that matters the most. Because I would say that when we first started doing the Prelude was when we were revitalizing our social media presence and our content creator presence. So at first the numbers thing was a thing for me. Oh, we ain't getting enough numbers, we ain't blah blah blah. But the more we did and the more we realized and looked into analytics and knowing the name of the game and knowing what audiences are and stuff, that's the reason why I had a commercial on Chasing Dallas and Chasing Atlanta, because I don't have a queer audience. I don't. So that's why I put that commercial there, so I can try to get a queer audience. It's called marketing. That's what I was trying to do, because I know the people that watch me are the aunties, okay? The 25 and up, the women that's 25 and up, looking at Love and Hip Hop and Basketball Wives and Real Housewives and Loving It, all that stuff. Those are all straight women that watch me. Don't no gay men be turning into my ass. So that's why I said, well, that's why I had the idea. Let me give me an ad on Chasing and put it out there and promote, shows like the Prelude and Boys Night Out, because there's all queer programming. So why not do that and bring people over here? So yeah, so whatever it is, the Prelude has done wonders over the last year, and we did it with a small audience. I could say that. I could say that.
Absolutely. It's a success story. So,
because we didn't know it was gonna be this.
You never know.
Yeah, it was supposed to be a podcast. Well, I guess people still consider it a podcast. I mean, we got nominated for podcast of the year, so they still call it a podcast. But it was supposed to be like a Spotify, Apple Music type of thing, and then I guess we could thank the pandemic for this shit, because if it wasn't for the pandemic, we wouldn't have been here.
Probably not.
So we didn't know it was going. I guess we could finish this conversation off in the next 4 minutes and make it an even hour and 30, I guess. But we've been doing this for a long time. Like, we came up with the Scorpion shows and the Ashley Millers and the Bundy Blues and the Forest Roxes. Like, we came up with them in the Sweet Addictions TV. We came up with them. A Connection TV. It's a lot of people.
TV, Zimban Adams, B. Scott.
Right. Brian B. We came up with them. Right, like those are the people that we started around. And I'ma even go as far as to saying like Adrian Expressions, because he started around the same time we did as well. And even though we don't have a relationship with this said person, Justin J as well, we all started around the same time, and it's a blessing to still. Somebody said Miss PTV. I be forgetting about her sometimes, because she's a married woman with a child, honey. I be forgetting, but we all started around.
Does anybody know any updates on Much Love from K1?
I've been saying that I was going to reach out to her, because we follow each other on Facebook, and I've been meaning to reach out to her, because I remember reaching out to her back when we first started the Prelude. Remember when we did that OG panel thing, and I was trying to get her on there, but we never got the chance to really discuss it. I don't know what happened, but I've been meaning to reach out to her, because she's still around. I think she's more like a gamer type of girl now. Yeah. But I did say that I was going to reach out to her on Facebook, because I did say that for my 50K celebration, I wanted to go back and do another video like we did for the 25K, but bring everybody we came up with and have them film certain portions and stuff. You know how we did for my 25K, and do that all over again, and just bring back all the people that we came up with and the people that we're mingling with today. Like, have like the Scorpion on down to the Jamie that's me's of today, and all that, all the people you've met alongside me. Like, I want to do that for my 50K. So, and she's one of the people that I would love to see do that, because people ain't seen her in a long time, and that'd be good for people to see her.
Mm-hmm. I definitely miss her.
Yes, because I used to love it when she say, "Chew my draws." Like, girl, what?
Oh, Wendy Williams Wilbur.
Oh my God.
Watch that video when I get up off of here.
Listen, okay. But like I said, it's a blessing that we're still here and we're still able to be here and still do our thing. Because like I said, we didn't know that the Prelude was going to be what it is. We didn't know we was going to interview Candy 3 years ago.
You never know. That's why you got to stick with it and Be consistent.
Right. Like we interviewed Candy. I mean, she's been amazing to us. Shout out to Blaze. Uh, all of it. What'd you say?
That shit was delicious.
I can't wait to go back.
I'm going back. I may go back this weekend.
I was gonna say, do you want to go back when I come back for the concert?
That's fine. Shit. Give me a reason to go.
I might ask Jamie to go this time because she just texted me while I was doing the interview. She was like, "Let me know when you want to link up. Let me know when you want to link up because I know you're coming back." And she thought I was just coming back for Boss Babe, but I'm like, "Girl, I'm coming back twice.
Mm-hmm.
I'm coming back for the concert and for Boss Babe, so we can get together and go to me, her, and probably me, you, her, and probably Aaron can go to Blaze because I don't think they got no vegetarian shit for Sakina. I'm not sure." But we'll see. We'll see. Somebody says, "Oh, so Blaze is the better restaurant." Absolutely.
In my opinion.
In my opinion as well. Absolutely. It's the best. It's the best. It's the best. But yeah. I'm just gonna end this off by saying when you have a project and you really want to see it through, believe in yourself and continue to go and push it out there because like I said, like we didn't know that the Prelude was gonna be what it is today. And we really did the Prelude because we made it up in our minds at the beginning of 2020. And I tell this story all the time. I was homeless at the time and I was about to come out of that situation. And I remember me and Jamar being on the phone and we was like, "Bitch, we're gonna do a podcast this year. We're gonna do whatever we gotta do to get ourselves out there. We're gonna rebrand ourselves, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that." And that's exactly what we did. Like we came once I said, "Look, once I get out this situation, we are gonna work on it." And we worked on it. I mean, we worked on it. We was all for the podcast idea. The podcast wasn't even called the Prelude. This was a prelude to the podcast that we was talking about doing. But we came together, we started doing the show. And I'd be looking at those older episodes too, child. And I'd be like, "Oh Lord, the very first time we did it with that ugly ass webcam I had, the mic was terrible. My teeth were still terrible before I got them done. It was a lot of imperfections with it. But shout out to Tramiel for being our very first interview.
Mm-hmm.
And it started with Tramiel and it went on down to everybody else. It went on from Tramiel to Ike to Devon to Troy and Dominique to Lil Kendra and Wayne DePayne to Oliver Twix, fucking Lauren England, who don't even give interviews like that, to Lauren England, to Q, to Reese G, to Trey Howard, to Dre Simber. So many different people have graced us. To fucking Candy Birds, the main person. Like, bitch, people can say, I always say, we're very humble people, but we can really pop our shit when we really need to, and we can.
You work for it. That's how you work for it, children.
Yes. Okay. So, thank you for the congrats on the 41K, child, because I'm already halfway to 42 now, child. Like covering this escape show has done wonders for me. Just letting y'all know that it's doing wonders, absolutely amazing wonders for me, child. So that's one thing I can say. I'm not gonna shut this off until Jamar bring his ass back so we can officially say bye. But yeah. With that being said, child, this was our interview with Kiki. I really enjoyed this interview. And I can't wait to interview Trey Howard because that's gonna be one problematic interview.
Let's do it.
All right, y'all, and we up out of here. Until the next one, we will holler at you guys a little bit later. And don't y'all forget that on Thursday, we will come back for the Chasing Dallas panel. It would be me, Jamar, T, and Tramiel. Josiah, on the other hand, we'll tell y'all about Josiah on Tuesday because Josiah is how can I say it, Jamar, without really telling it?
Having personal issues.
Yes, Josiah's having personal issues right now. He's gonna post about it later because we were actually texting while the interview was going on. But yes, But he'll be back soon. He just got to take a break because Josiah got a lot. Oh, he already announced it. Okay. Josiah got a lot going on because he's currently in the hospital right now. So he's not going to be able to do a lot of stuff right now. You know what I mean? So just keep him in your prayers and all of that good stuff. Keep our friend in your prayers and things of that nature. So that's all that really matters is that, like I told him, his health comes first and everything comes second because he's my friend before, you know, doing all this. He's our friend before doing all of this. Your mental and your physical is what matters. But y'all, we are up out of here and we will talk to you guys Thursday for the Chasing Dallas panel. And then we will talk to you guys on Friday when we interview Trey Howard. And we up out of here, y'all. Until the next one. Bye, y'all.
Peace.